ॐ सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. We are studying Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master, first part. The name being Purva Katha of Balya Jivan in Bengali, and historical background and the early days in English, early life. So, we have seen the introduction. And in the introduction, he has told us about incarnation. The idea may be new to many, and those having the old idea may not be clear about that idea. So, for both the new and the old people, Saradananda Swamiji, in his inimitable ways, has thrown a lot of reason to study the evolution of the idea. I would like to call it that avatar is already there, but our understanding has grown, evolved through Swami Saradananda's writing. And he has shown that what was called Rishi in the Vedas, later on Adhikarik Purushas, Prakriti-Lin Purushas, has finally called avatar, because we saw that it is God himself who shows the new paths in religion. And also we have seen that he is the Jagat Guru. He is the Guru for every human being in that particular age, for the type of man's mind in that particular age, maybe east or west or anywhere. For that, to throw light on the path of religion comes this incarnation. And then he has told us, when does it come? When there is a decline of religion, dharma glani. And then he is now showing us that what is the type of dharma glani has happened in this age of ours. For that we come to first chapter, chapter 1, Prasamadhyaya, Yuga Prayojan, the need of the age. That means first he will explain to us what is this age in which we are living, and how in this age man's mind wants religion. In this age, man wants the demonstration of the highest spiritual ideals in life. So what is this age? And what is this progress which you have made in this age? An important point in Saradananda's style, similar to Shankara's style, I would say, is that when he is showing something, he is showing it in great details, not condemning it at outright. He is showing he is aware of the great progress which science has made. So, let us read now the power and progress of man in modern times. How much power man has gained, what is the progress he has made. Even the simplest person can see how far, with the help of education, wealth, and self effort. These are the three tools for the modern progress. Education in the Western style, actually, I could change it. Vidya. Vidya should be cultivation of knowledge. Vidya should be learning. Vidya should be education. Vidya should be knowledge. So, with the help of knowledge, which is gaining every day of the outside world, and that is the first factor in the modern times, the man's power and progress. The first cause of power and progress is knowledge. The vastness of the knowledge which you are at present compared to the negligible knowledge, so to say, of the outside world in ancient world, both India and the whole world. There was very little knowledge, and the knowledge is galloping at present. It walked, it ran, and it is galloping. So vast it is becoming every day. We must be aware of that and then find out what has been lost. Wealth, because if we have some new project, new idea, then we require wealth. And this wealth has been used by modern man to gain more and more power and more progress. So the second point is wealth. And for using this, it requires self-effort. So, knowledge, vidya, sampad, or purushaka. So, knowledge, wealth, and self-effort. Even the simplest person can see how far, with the help of knowledge, wealth, and self-effort, mankind is progressing at present in every field. It seems as if man refuses to set a limit to his advance in any department of life. Sky is the goal, they say. Sky is the limit. Not satisfied with traveling on land and water, he has invented a new machine to fly in the sky. Saradananda's time this had happened. Now, endless machines have come, rockets have come, but man has made a machine to fly. He has satisfied his curiosity by going down to the bottom of the sea. Sea is seeing. Sea is called Ratnakar, but he is diving deep with the help of so many apparatuses. Every day we hear the record, new record. So how deep man can go is also a modern achievement. And by exploring seething volcanoes, now volcanoes, Jwalamukhis, They are always seething. But man goes inside to find out what is happening. Wonderful. He has sealed mountains covered with perpetual snow. So he has climbed Mount Everest several times by now. Crossed the seas and observed accurately the mysteries of the various regions of the world. Regions of the world, all the continents he has gone and find out what is where. He has discovered a life common with his own, pulsating in creepers, plants, and trees. This is an Indian scientist who did it, Jagdish Bose. The Western people had no idea. Jagdish Bose, through scientific experiments, showed that the plants have life. Indians knew that long back, maybe, but in the modern age, everybody knows that. Common with his own. That means I have life, the plants have life. Pulsating in creepers, plants, and trees. He extends his knowledge by subjecting all beings to his observation and experimentation. That is the method. Observe, do some experiments, and then find generalizations and get knowledge. Achieving control over the five elements. These five elements is an Indian idea. And it requires a little explanation. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Ether was the name tried at a certain period by this scientist. There is no such equivalent in English, that is the problem. Akasha, space is approximation. But space does not tell us that Akasha is matter. Space makes us believe that something empty is there, which is not true. And so the scientist tried a name ether. But that details have miserably failed. If it is matter, then how it gives space to other things? If it is blank space, how does it carry the sound wave? So, this ether is a name derived in a particular period during Swami Vivekananda and Swami Saradananda. In that particular period, this ether was the name found out by the scientists, which has failed later on. These days, the tendency of the translators is to use the Sanskrit words themselves, where no right translation is available. If the idea itself is not there, how will you have the word? So, as I said, let me explain these five things. And let us start from Akasha. Okay, suppose we start from the grossest thing which we know, the earth. Now the elements, earth, is not what we see as earth. The name is given, earth. Why? Because, now let me think like that. Where to start? Let us start from Akash. Akasha is the subtlest form of matter. Akasha is indiscrete matter. Akasha is primordial matter. Indiscrete matter. That means, how to explain that? There is matter. the original, primordial, as I said. That means what we understand by matter, some substance, apparently. And now, this space, how to understand Akash? It can be understood by two qualities which it possesses. When we observe certain things, any object, we observe that in space. So this suggests as if the space is empty. But it gives space to live and it has the quality of sound. Scientists have found that sound cannot travel in absolute vacuum. But sound travels through Akasha. So Akasha is that matter which allows sound. These two things please keep in mind, then we shall try to explain the other elements. Akasha is not the sky which we see. It is not sky. It is not space. It is not ether. It is Akasha, matter, but not yet given some form. Then suppose it grossifies a little grossification takes place, then what we see? Air. Air also is not this air which we observe. Air is something flowing from one direction to something flowing from a place to the other place. So this matter, when it becomes a little gross, we observe that it flows. And if it flows, what are the qualities which has? The original quality of Akasha, sound, is there. Added to that is the quality of touch. What touches our skin is air. Then it grossifies a little more. This wind or air can also be thought of as the gaseous state of everything, can be thought of. Then in physical science, from a gaseous thing we get liquid, but Indians found that if the flow grossifies a little more, we get light. Scientists are still struggling to get the concept of light. Sometimes they call it corpuscle, sometimes they call it wave. Now, light is the little grossification of the flowing substance. So what it does do? It has sound, it has touch, plus it has form. Let me tell you like that. Well, I'll come by other method now. Let me complete this method. So, that is, it has form. We can see. Akasha we can never see. Akasha will understand only by the sound which it carries. We see the sky. We do not see the sky. We see the blue color. We see the convex shape, but that is not sky. Then, if this light grossifies a little more, then Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. That gives us the element called water. Water again is not this water. We use the subtler state of water, anything which can give us taste. Along with sound, touch, form, taste. Then it solidifies, it grossifies a little more, and then we add smell. So, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, if some matter has, then that is earth. Now, Let me explain it in another way. Scientists say there are 92 elements originally. Now the list is growing. Much above 100 it has gone. And that idea of elements has gone away. Please listen to me. When the scientists have discovered what we call the nucleus of an atom, they have found much smaller particles which we cannot see. Scientists does not propose us to show electron or proton. It is a hypothetical something, but let us take the help of that. Now, our science, Indian idea is experiential, while the Western idea is that we decide there is an object outside, and then taking object, we try to analyze that object. That is the Western idea. Now, we do hear sound. So, what does it mean? Experience, perception. So, in the matter which we see, there must be something which gives us the experience of sound. Please, this is the best way to explain. In the matter, we get sound. So, there is something in the matter which causes sound. That we call as Akasha Tattva. There is something in the matter which causes the experience of touch. We call that as air. And whatever gives us the experience of touch also gives us sound. So we say that this is a grossification of the original matter. Then there is something in the world outside, in the matter, something which gives us form, shape, size, color. All this contributes to a form, shape, size, and color. So there is something in the matter which generates shape, size, and color. In the modern terminology, they say they discovered a particle called photon. They have hypothesized, but there has to be something which gives us shape, size, and form that we call as light. Now, that which gives us shape, size, and form also gives us sound, also gives us touch, also gives us form. So, that is the grossification of air. Then, there is something in matter which causes taste. And that something we call as water, not this water. But there is something in matter which causes taste. And that which causes taste also gives us sound, touch, shape, and taste. That we call as water, the element water. And then there is something in the matter which gives us smell. That scientists have not given any name. One funny thing I will tell you. Some particle the scientists have hypothesized, and because they could not give any other name, they called it God particle. And fools or deluded persons started shouting, scientists have found God. They have given the name for an unknown type of particle as God particle. Anyway, so we know experientially that there is something in matter which causes smell. And that which causes smell also gives us sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Now, these are the names given by the Indians, old Indians, for the five subtler elements. And they are grossifications of each other. And when they combine, giving predominance to one of them, Akasha predominant, in that all other four elements also are there, then that becomes the experienced Akasha, gross Akasha, like that. So this is from the experience point of view much, much subtler than what the science tells us. Science tells us 92, 100, 105 elements. But when we go to the nuclear, then why the name element? Because we see one element being changed into other. The name goes that very moment. Anyway, so these Pancha Tattvas, Saradananda Swamiji has used, and now coming to the point of progress and power, he says, man has got control over these five elements of matter. That means all matter. Achieving control over the five elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, he has become acquainted with innumerable facts relating to this earth of ours. So in earth they found all the five elements and innumerable qualities of this earth they have found. How many types is there? Geology and whatnot. Still unsatisfied by knowledge, wealth, self-effort, he is not satisfied. He does not put a limit to anything. He is eager to discover the secrets of distant stars and planets and is already successful to some extent in his quest. Every day now they are discovering new galaxies and new planets and new stars. So, here he says, successful to some extent in his quest. Okay. There is also no lack of effort on his part to investigate the laws of the inner life. By experiment and research, he continually discovers new truths in that domain. Inner life, life of the mind, by experimentation and observation. He cannot see the mind. But by behavioral psychology, he generalized certain things and discovered. He has reached the conclusion that one species of beings evolves into another and that the mind consists merely of subtle matter and therefore has a beginning and an end. So, these are the discoveries of modern science. That Darwin's evolution is mentioned here, that he has discovered. He is now stating science from the science viewpoint. Otherwise, this Darwinian evolution was anticipated much before by Patanjali. And Swamiji, with that help, has explained that Darwinian evolution is hardly 1/4 of the truth. Because Darwinian evolution starts from some mollusk up to man. But evolution has not ended with man. Physical evolution might have been complete, but the mind starts evolving in a man. And no two people are on the same level. Mind goes on evolving more and more. That is, so I said, ha. Then Swamiji has showed that every evolution presupposes involution. Evolution tells us that nothing new. The old thing is forms in a new configuration. So something was involved already, then it could evolve. So that makes the Darwinian evolution 1/4. But here, Saradananda Swamiji has deliberately ignored the Indian ideas. Only the names of Panchatattvas he gave to designate all matter. He has ignored the Indian ideas. He is looking at the Western science from the Western point of view and telling us the power and progress. Because that is the common man's experience. So the mind also has beginning and end because the matter has beginning and end. He is now assured that as in the external, so also in the internal world, every event is regulated by an inviolable law. So law is something which science believes. Cause and effect is something which science believes. If something does not follow the laws found by scientists, they call it aberration. They deny it. But they believe in law and they have found that the mind and its behavior also follows some laws. That is the view of modern science. And he is now familiar with the subtle laws governing irrational mental impulses. So he cannot explain it by ordinary reason. So he calls it irrational. There are impulses in the mind and they are not explainable by the ordinary reason. But in them also he has found some law. Like the urge to commit suicide. The urge to commit suicide cannot be rationally explained, but he has found some laws governing it. Again, although he has no positive evidence regarding the survival of the individual, that here some defect also comes. What science believes Saradananda Swamiji is steady. So, they have absolutely no idea that an individual continues to live after the death of the body. There are absolutely no observation or generalization on this point. Then is it all useless? All this ends in death. Then what is progress? So the science will tell us that we may die, but the human race, if you take as a unit, goes on progressing or evolving. So somehow they satisfy themselves by continuity of the human race. Human race is not one unit. But for each unit, they have absolutely no idea of its continuation, and so he has no positive evidence regarding the survival of the individual. Survival means after death of the body. The study of history has convinced him that the national life not only continues, national life. A nation is another idea. And nation, the whole humanity is one nation. Each country's culture has a nation. So, now the Bengali word jati is very difficult to translate. Jati gata jivan. It is not caste. Jati is a group. And Jatigata Jivan here also does not mean nation in our ordinary sense. Not that continuation of India, continuation of America, no. The humanity as a Jati. The humanity is evolving. The humanity is growing. So in that way, the survival is thought. Each individual has death, will have to die. But then some idea of continuity does not leave man, without which the life itself becomes meaningless. All this progress and we die. Then what is the use of progress? But here the idea that if you take the humanity as a whole, then it is progressing. Then it is gaining more and more power. So that is how they somehow satisfy the meaning of life. They satisfy the purpose of all this progress. They satisfy the purpose of knowledge and self-effort by thinking that if not myself, my son will improve. Not my son, but the humanity as a whole continues. With this idea, they have to be satisfied. By study of history, he has been convinced, the study of history has convinced him that the national life not only continues, but also evolves. So, man knows much more than what the previous generation knew. The more modern the generation, the more knowledge it has. Thus, finding the fulfillment of the individual life in that of the nation, now this nation comes as a limited concept. Nation as humanity we have seen. Now nation again becomes a limited concept. A piece of land and people living on the piece of land. And this, mind you, changes every moment. There was some idea called India. And now that is Pakistan, Bangladesh, Ceylon, Myanmar, this was all called India. And we know that if you go by the idea India, then Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia, all these are India. But now the name changes. So there is a concept, a limited concept of a nation. And so what happens? War. War, England trying to grow by killing France. France trying to grow by smashing England, Italy, Germany. That is how the science has made us. But this is one type. Here what Saradananda Swamiji mentions is again humanity. He wages perpetual war against ignorance. So, many things we do not know. That is called ignorance. But we shall know. As a humanity, we shall know. That is the perpetual war against ignorance with the aid of science and cooperative undertakings. That is a different thing. Huh? He wages perpetual war against ignorance with the aid of science and cooperative undertakings in order to achieve success in this regard. That is another thing. If one man struggles, he cannot do anything. Western idea is that if 10 people come together, then they cooperate, then they make more progress. This idea of corporate culture has come to India also now. So the corporate culture is what is Saradan Swamiji is mentioning here, that by they call it enlightened citizenship. That if one man struggles, he cannot get anything. So let five men come together, they get more things. So that is all the Western idea of progress from the Western point of view. Imagining that given unending struggle, now this is imagination. Saradan Swamiji has used the imagination. We do not have sufficient data to establish it, but we stretch our mind, that is called imagination. Imagining that given unending struggle, he can discover the most hidden regions of the external and internal worlds and can achieve eternal progress. He has launched the boat of his life on a current of endless desire. This last word has smashed everything. Endless desires. These desires make him progress. And these desires go. If the progress, in Swami Vivekananda's language, if the progress grows in arithmetical progression, the desires grow in geometrical progression. Endless desires. Now, he has called humanity, 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 and man. Man in modern times. Now he is telling us from where it has come. I use the word Western, Western, Western again because the whole thing is in Western terminology. Now, the center of this power and progress in the West, it spreads to the East. The center of this power and progress is in the West. So this idea, whole idea, is a Western idea. Although the expansion of life originated chiefly in the West, this expansion of life this one sentence of Bengali is missing. पूर्वोक्त प्रसारेर फलाफल निर्णय करिते हইলে no, no. Oh, no, no, I'm going back. Okay. Although this expansion of life originated chiefly in the West, a good deal of its influence is noticeable in India and other Eastern countries. As science daily brings East and West closer to each other, the Eastern outlook on life is gradually undergoing a change. Outlook of life is gradually undergoing a change and conforming more and more to the Western pattern. Yes. The West influencing the East, we see the progress of West influencing the East also is growing with galloping speed. So, India has to conform to the Western idea. Every time they will ask how much money you have made, how much objects you have got more. So, this Western idea is the outlook, modern outlook for comparing any nation. This becomes clear from a study of the history of Persia, China, Japan, India, and other Oriental countries. Oriental means countries to the east, that is called Oriental. So, Oriental countries all are being influenced by the Western idea. For better or for worse, that means we are not sure whether this is leading to progress or to regress, but influence is definitely growing. For better or for worse, Western thought has had, beyond any doubt, an influence on the East. It appears that the whole world will, in course of time, be pervaded by Western ideas. That is what appears at the present, but there is a but. The consequences of this progress are to be ascertained in the light of the Western way of life. So, the origin, how this originated, what happened, we must study the West and then we'll study the influence. That is the way. For an answer to the question whether this expansion of life has brought about good or bad results, we must go particularly to the West. So whether the results are good or bad, let us go to the West, where we shall also discover its source and nature. Source of these ideas, nature of these ideas, and the result of these ideas. That is the way to judge anything in the world. Source, nature, and result. Such an investigation will show us how far the early ideas of the West have progressed or deteriorated. In the West, there were early ideas, and whether there has been a loss or gain in man's happiness. So that is the one test Saradananda Swamiji wants to apply, good or bad. Whether all this has added to man's happiness or not. That is the thing to be seen. Now we will show. When this has once been ascertained regarding the individual and the nation in the West, individual's happiness, national happiness. In the West, the same process can without difficulty be extended to other countries, provided the time factor and the prevailing conditions are taken into account. That means the influence comes slowly, so time factor and local conditions in that country also gives us some indication. So if these two are considered, then we can find the happiness or misery of these countries also as given by the Western idea of progress. The cause and course of this progress in the West. Now let us go to the West. History has recorded in very clear terms that from ancient times, the severe cold in the dominant Western countries made men intensely body conscious. That is the starting point. Extreme cold, we feel our body. And so, man becomes body conscious. This made them selfish. So, I want something for my body at the cost of others. This appears very simplistic explanation, but that is what Saradananda Swamiji has analytically found. The Western countries, West, Russia also included, because more cold. And cold gives body consciousness. Body consciousness gives selfishness. This made them selfish. At the same time, they realized that their selfish interests were best served by united effort, I called just now, the corporate culture, which in turn made them patriotic. So, this is the source of patriotism in the West. India idea is totally different, please. But let us find the Western idea that I, as an individual, cannot progress. Let me form groups, and this group is already there in a nation. So, what I was telling the previous para is this: patriotic. This is the idea of patriotism. This self-interest and patriotism led them in course of time to conquer other nations with great daring. That is what I was referring in the previous para. There it was humanity as a whole and war was against poverty and ignorance. But now we are dealing with the Western source and how it developed. So it developed from cold, body conscious, selfishness, enlightened selfishness by forming groups called patriotism, and then to conquer other nations with great daring and rob them of their wealth. That is what happened. Somebody recently calculated, if you read the recent speeches of India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar, he has shown that the Britishers ruled for 150 or more years India and how much wealth they are looted. That he has shown. So that is the idea. One nation against the other, and we shall loot that country to make ours rich. Swamiji has exposed one thing. To spread Christianity, they said Christian nations are rich. So Christianity is superior. Swamiji says Christian nations are rich at the cost of non-Christian nations. So if all become Christians, how will they become rich? So this argument is self-defeating. That the Christianity is more true because Christian nations are rich is self-defeating argument. Please understand. With great daring and rob them of their wealth. The struggle for existence then became easier and gradually men acquired the capacity to look into themselves. So all this, now little more time we have, little more ease of living we have. Though in the beginning we had to quarrel with the foresters. Now with all this progress, we have some ease of life. Then what happens? The struggle for existence then became easier and gradually men acquired the capacity to look into themselves. So then they started studying themselves, which made them seek learning and the nobler qualities. So after killing others, then they become more cultured. They felt more and more drawn towards these higher quality pursuits beyond the mere struggle for existence because the struggle for existence became easier. So they got time for other pursuits and they thought, I should improve myself. But now they encountered obstacles. This is all pertaining to Western countries and Christianity, also Islam. Impartially, Saradananda Swami is judging. You know, when the Kepler discovered that it is not sun which moves, but earth moves, the Christian fathers condemned him. Because religion does not believe that. So, that was never in India. India always had freedom. But in the Western source we are studying now, so the religion as a body curbed the progress of the human nature. But now they encountered obstacles, religious belief and a bigoted priesthood. Bigoted means the priest will say, no, nothing else can be true. What is written in our book is only truth. That is the form of religion. And that religion and the bigoted priesthood stood in the way of further progress. The priest did not merely utter threats condemning men to hell if they acquired such learning. So that is what the priest said. You will go to hell if you go in this direction. They went further and actually employed fraud, force, and stratagem to prevent them from proceeding along that path. Witch hunting and how many things happened in the Western countries. Chale bale kaushale. Okay. My means good or bad. But the Westerners, being accustomed to pursuing their own self-interest, did not take long to find out how to overcome the priest opposition. They pressed forward, forcibly removing the priest from their path. We shall not listen to you. Rejecting the scriptures and denouncing religion as well as the priests. They began to guide their life along a new channel and made it a principle not to believe or accept anything that could not be pursued by the senses. So their final judgment is five senses. If priest said something, humbug, remove them. Don't believe in supernatural. This is the Western mode of progress. Holding that truth can be ascertained only by the direct evidence of the senses, backed by reasoning, inference, etc., the West henceforward began to worship objective matter. So objective matter, matter taken as an object, that the worship means whole energy is spent on that, not believing in the supernatural or whatever the religion is telling, because they thought us. Thinking that the subject perceived as the I consciousness belong likewise to the category of matter. So, I consciousness is there, but they think everything is matter. So, I consciousness is a form of matter. That is what they concluded. It therefore proceeded to investigate the nature of that consciousness also by the method of perception, of which we have already spoken. So try to find out, observe and decide. That method of observation which they applied on objective matter, they applied on I consciousness also. But I consciousness is consciousness. It is not amenable to that. Thus, for the last 400 years, now add another 100 after Saradananda Swamiji's writing. Men in the West have accepted only those things in the universe which could be investigated through the five senses. So nothing beyond five senses. Within that period, physical science outgrew the mistakes and limitations of its infancy and entered upon its youth characterized by energy, optimism, enthusiasm, and love of power. That is youth. Youth, science entered youth. Now it is going toward the old age perhaps. Youth, so characterized by energy, optimism, enthusiasm, and love of power. That is the youth definition. And ignorance of the knowledge of the Atman resulting, the ignorance of the knowledge of the Atman, the resulting dissatisfaction. So now we are turning the leaves and trying to find out this whether good or bad, whether it has a happiness or misery, and so we could not, the West could not find any way of investigating self, reality. supersensuous things which we read in the Avatarnika, where Indians from the beginning had based all their religion on that. So this turnout we shall study on the Monday. So Western progress of humanity, center is West, source of that progress, nature of that progress has been determined, and now we have to determine the effect, whether more happiness or more misery has come. That we shall take on Monday. Brilliant analysis, not condemning anything, but showing the result. Om Sarvadharma Stapakasvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Acharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.